Hi, so in today's video I'm going to do a really quick rundown on the basic rules behind negative numbers and how to add, subtract, multiply and divide. Now I've got 10 questions here and I would highly recommend that you watch the first 5, make sure you're happy with all of those rules, go back over it if you need to, and then move on to the second 5, okay, because the rules are ever so slightly different between the two. Now just before we start, I'm just going to write up the top here something which you've possibly seen before, which is just basically about the rules of negative numbers, okay? I'm not going to go into the whys and wherefores, I'm just literally going through how to answer these questions so that you don't get confused. So suffice it to say, if you've got two different signs, then you're going to overall have a minus, and if you've got two signs the same, you're going to overall, that becomes a plus. However, the way you apply that is different depending on whether you're adding and subtracting or multiplying and dividing. So let's first of all look at the adding and subtracting part. Now, when we've got here, we've got negative 8. Now, when I've got a negative number, I've put it in brackets just to kind of make it stand out. So we've got here negative 8, and that's just take away 7. Now, all that means is we just read left to right. The only time we change anything with adding and subtracting is if we've got two signs next to each other. So here we don't have that. So we just read across left to right, okay? So basically, if I do a very, very small number line here, and if you're doing this at home, you can draw one out, take your time, go through it slowly. But suffice it to say, all you need is a straight line with a 0 marked on it, just so you get an idea of where we are. Now, the first number is our starting point, and that is minus 8. And we are going to subtract 7. Now the subtract tells us which direction we're going to go in, so we're going down, okay? So we're going to take away 7. Now with negative numbers, the smaller they are, the bigger the actual number itself looks. So negative 8 take away 7 actually takes us down to negative 15, and that is your answer, okay? So try and visualise it, try and think about it on a number line. This question here, I've included it, it's just a simple question. You would have done this at primary school, it's no different, but sometimes because you're then doing the topic of negative numbers, it all gets a bit confused. So what we're doing is 11 take away 7, and again, if you need to use a number line, then do. So mark on your 11 here, and we're taking away 7, okay? And all that gives us is 4, all right? Now, here's where it starts to change. We cannot do the sum if we've got two signs next to each other. We need to address that first. So in this instance, I've got 11 take away negative 32. Now when we take away a negative, what actually happens is we end up adding, okay? And that's what you need to remember, and that's where this grid comes into play. So we're going to end up now doing, you can write the sum out again if it helps, 11 plus 32, and that's the only time you need to change anything, okay? So 11 plus 32 is just 43, and there's your answer, that's it. This one then, again, look at the question first. We've got two signs next to each other, so ring them. We need to change it to one sign. So now we've got negative 7 plus 7. Now think about your number line here. I'll take off some of these other numbers so you can see it properly. We are at, this is our starting value, we're at negative 7. We're going to add 7. That gets us exactly to 0. And that's it. So it seems a bit unlikely, but that is the answer. Trust your instincts. Now again here, we don't have any signs next to each other, so we don't have to do anything special. It's just negative 12 plus 5. Use your number line again. So we're at negative 12, we're going to add 5. Now this time we're not going to get up to 0, okay? So where do we get to? Well, negative 12 plus 5 only gets us up to negative 7, and that is your answer, okay? So, pause at this point, go back over those, rewind it, watch it again, make sure that you're happy with it, make up some questions of your own to do, to practice, and then you can always do them on your calculator to see if you've got them right. Right, moving on to the next set of questions, 6 through to 10. This time we're multiplying and dividing. Now here, all we're going to do is the normal calculation. So, 12 times 5 answers 60, okay? But we've got a minus times by a plus. Back to your grid, Look at the signs of the overall numbers. It's a minus times a plus. The signs are different, so therefore it is negative 60. So you see what I'm saying? It's slightly different to adding and subtracting. So my advice, do the sum as it normally would be done, then worry about the sign. This question here, 72 divided by 9 is just 8. We've got a minus divided by a minus. Two signs the same means that it will be plus overall, so that's the answer there. Next question, 14 divided by negative 2. Well, 14 divided by 2 is 7. It's plus 14 and minus 2 is a plus and a minus, so the answer must be negative. So we apply that at the end, so it's negative 7. Number 9 here, negative 7 times by 3, well 7 3s are 21. We've got a minus times by a plus, so overall our answer must be negative. Okay? And lastly, 5 times 6 is 30. We've got a minus times a minus, so therefore it's plus. So I actually think the multiplying and dividing is much easier. You just do the sum like you normally would, ignore the signs, do the calculation, and then apply the rules. So if there are different signs, it's a minus, and if they're the same sign, it's a plus. And that's it. Have a look over it again, pause, rewind, reflect, make sure you understand, and then do some practice questions.